I'm 47. This is my show. I throw the fish. I threw the fish. This is the end. I love you.
That, of course, was the iconic Mr. 47 show, featuring Agent 47, one of the most beloved characters in the world. But that all changed last week, as the target of this daring rescue in 47's most recent video came forward and recounted the traumatic experience.
I was perfectly content here, and then this vigilante comes in, strangles me, then drags me all the way out the school, all while he's saying like, oh, I'm saving you and stuff. I didn't want him to. Now, all the skin on my back has been scraped.
Sorry, Mr. Jones, I'll have to interrupt you. We've actually got a caller coming in. Who is this?
Hey, Earl, it's Frank. Well, I was just wondering if you could hand me over to Jones. I'd like to share my condolences for this horrible event.
Of course, he's listening now.
Great, hey, Jones, I'm really sorry about it. You stupid motherfucker, I saved your life. Oh, it's you, isn't it? You're 47, aren't you? I didn't want to be saved. You had a bag over your head. In without, the bag has nothing to do with this. The bag has literally nothing to do with this. And you're saying you're fine. You're insane. I'm not insane. You're the one who came in.
Okay, can we track this call?
Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking strangle you again. Are you hearing this? I'm gonna do it again. Listen to this guy, man. You're dead. You know what? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. I'm going to hang up now. I'm going to hang up. Don't you dare hang up on me.
If you have been affected by any of the issues raised in this program, please contact the helpline at windowledge.news at helpline.
Hi there. My recent actions as Hitman have been deemed rather controversial by my superiors, and I've landed myself the one thing worse than death. A 2-week ban. It's crazy, man. I filmed myself doing all those war crimes, and it wasn't until I actually saved a guy that people started getting pissed. My hand has been forced into booking a luxury holiday, but there are still evil people out there, people who need dealing with. So, I've hired a lackey to do my bidding. The only problem is that, well, he's a bit weird. Starting to think something isn't quite right with him every now and then. I turn around and he's just on the ceiling. The red wine he buys always tastes so metallic, I don't think he has a reflection. Every time I try and confront him about it, he just runs off. It's weird, man. Also, his name's Dracula. But anyway, my flight's soon, so while I suffer in the Maldives, I'll hand you over to Dracula. Hi, I'm Dracula. I was going to do a voice, but I can't be bothered. Being a vampire is pretty cool, you know, immortality and stuff. But we are probably the most nerfed creatures in existence. We have like 5 kryptonites. So that's what this challenge is about. Can I beat a level in Hitman while adhering to the restrictions of being a vampire? Obviously, we need to get the rules down before we can get going. Number 1, probably the most significant, vampires burn to death in sunlight. Now, in folklore, this normally means that vampires can only go out at night. Even a cloudy day is enough to kill them. But for the sake of this challenge, we're going to say that we can be outside at day as long as we aren't in direct sunlight. So shadows are fine. Any other light source is fine as long as it's not the sun. But if any part of our body touches direct sunlight even for a fraction of a second, that is not allowed. Obviously, we'd be much better protected while in buildings, which is why Rule 1 combined with Rule 2 creates a pretty devilish combo. Rule 2, vampires have to be invited in. Bit of a strange one. Folklore says that in order for a vampire to enter a household, particularly a household, they have to be personally invited in by the master of said household. At which point they can come and go as they please. It's difficult to implement this into a game where most of the buildings aren't households, but again, in the spirit of this challenge, it'll go a bit like this. I will not be allowed to trespass at all. I think this fits as it'll mean that wherever I go in the level, I will basically be permitted to be there. But as well as this, and to make it a little bit harder, if there exists a room on the map that is seen as one of our target's private quarters or their office or something, we will have to be personally invited by the target into that area. And we will try to kill them in this area because, you know, we could just lure them out, but that's boring. Rules 3, 4, and 5 are far more situational. Vampires are afraid of garlic, crucifixes, and running water. There is actually a garlic texture in this game, so we'll have to be careful. We're going to be doing the Dubai level because it's one of my favourites. The sun is out in this level, so we'll have to be careful. Good thing this building is made entirely of glass. We're going to be starting in the default location, the atrium lobby. Of course, we could choose a starting location that makes us avoid most of the sunlight and makes the no trespassing rule trivial, but that's lame. Plus, I'll need some leverage for something I do later. Now that we're in the lobby, let's assess the lighting situation. For this level, the sun is here. It's very low in the sky because I think it's evening, which is actually quite bad for us, as the angle means even if you're far away from the edges of the building, you can still be caught by sunlight. This area is basically completely off limits. And even as far as here, the sun can still hit. Luckily, the atrium lobby is not in the sun, mainly because it's the lowest part of the building and these stairs are blocking it. Now, to be honest, for this level, it's actually quite hard to know which parts are in direct sunlight because the floors are so reflective and they're quite dark. Like, you can see I'm creating a shadow here in the lobby, but this isn't from the sun. If you're not convinced, you'll see as I start to walk up the stairs, that's direct sunlight. Anyway, the atrium lobby is luckily safe, but there's no way we can go up those stairs into no man's land, so we're gonna have to go through the shortcut door. However, as soon as we do, we'll be trespassing, and that goes against rule 2. So we're gonna have to take this guy's outfit. We brought a total of 6 coins for this mission because we're gonna need a lot of distractions, and we won't always be able to retrieve them. His positioning means we're gonna have to throw 3 coins in order to get him to where we want, which is behind this coat rack. As long as he's behind this rack, he shouldn't be found, and I forgot to mention, but we will be going for Silent Assassin for this run. Now we're suited, we can go up the shortcut door without trespassing. This part of the map and a lot of the areas behind it are safe from the light, which is great, but that's not to say that we're safe from it from now on. The sun is going to make a few parts of this run very difficult. We're now on level 1 of the map and we would be burning here, but someone thoughtfully closed the blinds. Very nice of them. First I'm going to need this security guard outfit. We lure him over here so the guard in the other room doesn't see. Now, we're actually kind of stuck here. If we go out this door, we'll die. The sun makes this area pretty much a no-go. Bit of a side note, but these two, Zaina Kazim and Kelly Toe, are actually going to become very important for this run. But we can't go out this door. We also can't get to the other side of the map by going back this way, as the door we'd have to go through is blocked by these tiny bits of sunlight, even though we are this far away from the dangerous side of the map. The only option I have, and the only sketchy part of this run, quite miraculously, is that we'll have to climb this vine, which is a hostile area. I'm allowing this because first of all, it doesn't say trespassing, and second, the reason the trespassing rule exists is so I feel invited to wherever I go. You can't be invited to an artificial vine. This is hostile because it's a suspicious action, not because I don't have clearance to climb it. There's no disguise that makes it not hostile. I'm allowing it. I hope you forgive me. Now we're up to level 2, we can really get moving around the map. And the target I'm going to deal with first is Marcus Stuyvesant. We're going to go through the security room and the staff areas of the map so that we're protected. Now, my first idea to get Stuyvesant was to overload this light to electrocute him, but ironically, this light fixture is called the sun. And by my own rules, any light is okay apart from the sun. So I actually can't stand in the way of this. Also, there's water in here that may or may not be running. This room will kill a flock of vampires. So what we're actually going to do is something you may remember from this video, where I become Stuyvesant's new guard. I think this is good because it satisfies my Rule 2 requirement, where I want a personal invite from the target to be allowed in their presence as a trusted person, I guess. And I think this is the most vampiric thing I can do. What's great is that we don't have to worry about the morals of taking something only to give it back. God, I got so many comments about that, like, what a stupid video, man. There's so many things wrong with it, and YouTube's just like, oh, this is the only video on your channel worth recommending, so you're gonna get comments calling you out for the rest of your... The kitchen. We need to go through the kitchen. I've done a pretty thorough sweep. As far as I know, there is no garlic in here. Also, no taps running or anything. Crisis averted. We need to go through the kitchen because that's where this guy's documentation is, which we're going to steal. And with this documentation, we can meet with Stuyvesant and he'll make us his new guard.
Okay, you must be my new escort.
It's a personal invitation to be around him. I'm happy with this. I think it's the best we can do for Rule 2, for Marcus at least, as he doesn't have his own office or whatever. We do have a bit of a problem though. When he sees my documentation, he's going to make me follow him to the knife-throwing area.
Come on, let's walk.
And the first part of the route he takes is through this corridor, which is completely covered by sunlight. It's the only part that is, so we're going to have to ignore Stuyvesant when he says follow me, then go around this way and meet him back here. I'm sure he won't mind.
What the hell?
Okay, so we make sure we hide to the side of the door and so...
Come back here.
No, dude, just come through.
Done yet. I still need
Literally, I'm right here. Just walk through the door.
What the hell?
Oh my god, okay.
Good. You are paid to protect me, not wander off. Understood? What the hell? I expect you to be by my side 24/7.
Stuyvesant's taking me to an outside area, which is pretty scary, but luckily it's on the other side of the map, and it's safe from the sun. Once we throw the knives to prove our skills, his old guard leaves, and I become the new one. We're pretty much done here, but it leads me to another thing I haven't explained yet. How are we actually going to eliminate our targets? Hopefully you know that vampires bite people in their neck in order to, drink their blood, but unfortunately, we can't bite in this game, so what do? Well, we're just going to use our imagination. I'm going to strangle them, which puts my mouth very close to their neck, and I'm just going to say I bite them. Stuyvesant is down, and that was the easy one. Our second target, Carl Ingram, actually has his own office in this map, right at the top of the building in the penthouse. To satisfy rule 2, we're going to want to be invited in there, then kill him in there. My plan involves going back to an area I mentioned before. Remember when I was here? I talked about Zaina Kazim and Kelly Toe and how the sun made this area pretty much a no-go. Well, the keywords were pretty much. The plan is to follow this mission story where Zaina is hired by our target. So we'll need his disguise. So let's take a look at the sun situation for this area. This is where I was, and yeah, the sun makes it so I can't go through this doorway, but as you can see, there's actually a nice bit of shade in the middle. More importantly, shade that takes us from this doorway, which is where we are after taking out Stuyvesant, to the garden area, which is where Zaina Kazim is. So we can walk through this shade to the garden area. The garden area itself is really not safe. We can't go anywhere beyond these walls because of this really thin stretch of sunlight, which goes from one end to the other. And even here, where we may think we're safe, the angle of the sun means we very much aren't, unless we crouch. The only safe area is by these bushes, as this pillar is protecting us. Luckily though, this is all we need. In order to get Mr. Kazim's disguise, we need to lure him into these bushes and subdue him, because bushes obscure bodies, if you didn't know. The problem is these two, who are pretty close, who could definitely see us taking him out. We throw one coin over here to distract this guy, and as he moves towards it, throw another in the bushes to attract Kazim. If we do this right, he'll follow. We can subdue him, making sure none of my bald head is cooking, and somehow this lady does not see. Kazim is now KO'd in the bushes, but we have a big problem. Allow me to explain. In order to progress this mission, we need to meet with Kelly while disguised as Zaina. Kelly is up these stairs, and since the sun is blocking the path there, we'll have to go back the way we came. Which is fine, apart from one thing. Zaina's disguise counts as trespassing while in this area. So it's a bit of a predicament. We have to be disguised as Zaina while meeting with Kelly, but we can't get there without trespassing or going up in flames. Luckily, there is one thing we can do. What if we just dragged Zaina's body all the way through the staff area while we're still in the security guard outfit so we don't trespass, then change into Zaina once he's in an area he's allowed to be in, i.e. here. That could work. Problem with that is that there's a lot of eyes along the path. 3 people at the doorway we need to go through, 2 more here who will definitely see us dragging Zaina. Let's get rid of these 3 first. These guys are fairly simple, we just throw the coins into this corner. It's just going to take a while. Since there aren't enough places to hide bodies nearby, I'll just pile them all up here. Don't worry, no one will ever find them. We've cleared out the first doorway, but there are still these 2, and they're going to be a bit harder since to get rid of them, we need to KO 5 other people. Let me show you. So we're now in the area we need to drag Zaina to. Down the stairs are the 2 guards we need to get rid of. There are 2 more people up here who will also need to go, plus 1 more out here. But one of these people is Kelly, and if you remember, we need her to stay alive and conscious so we can meet with her as Zaina to get our invite to Carl. But if we leave her, she'll definitely see us knock out / drag at least one of the 4 others we need to deal with. So we're going to have to be very careful. The 2 guards not standing by the door are relatively easy to deal with. We knock them out here, then drag them into this wardrobe when Kelly turns her head. But now what? To get these 2, we'd either have to drag them all the way up the stairs and round the corner while Miss Toe still roams, nearly impossible, or option 2. The banana. Fun little thing about making an NPC slip on a banana is that if they are found by another NPC, you don't lose Silent Assassin, because the knockout is seen as an accident. So, the plan is, we put the banana on the ground, Kelly slips over, we lure the 2 guards up the stairs, KO them, drag them around the corner, then wake up Kelly. I'm a genius. So, we're finally ready. Let's set up the classic greed trap. We place 1 coin on the ground, then 1 banana, then throw another coin to get her attention. Blinded by the prospect of material gains, she ignores the imminent danger. We've successfully cleared the area. We can now lure the 2 guards up the stairs and finally clear the path for us to drag Zaina. We can't leave the scene like this though, because when we get another NPC to wake up Kelly, they will definitely see these two bodies. So we need to hide them in the security room, which means knocking out 3 more people, taking our grand total of KOs up to 13. Again, there's not enough cupboards in here, but the maintenance room is actually safe, so we can just pile everyone up in here. Jesus Christ, man, we are finally able to drag Zaina to where we want him. We just have to make sure to stay within the shadows for this room. Anyway, this room is now completely clear, no one sees us, and the staff areas we have to take him through are also pretty clear apart from this corridor where there's 2 people who can see us. The weight of my sins means I can't knock them out, so I'll have to wait for the guy in white to turn, then take Zaina a bit closer. We can't go all the way, so we'll leave him here, then we're going to stand in the way of the body to block sight of him. After the guard is far away and the technician turns, we can take Zaina through the security room and to where we want him to be. We change into Zaina, then back into the guard, put Zaina in the maintenance room, then switch back. We have brought Zaina's disguise from the garden to Kelly without trespassing or going in direct sunlight. Now we just need to wake her up. One of these guards will do. We lure him down the stairs and he should see her. And as you can see, Silent Assassin is not lost. Poor Kelly gets straight back to work as soon as she wakes up, but good for us is that with our disguise, she takes us up to a conference room to meet with our target. This to me is more than enough for our invitation requirement, being in a private meeting with him, but we can do better than that. We can get the penthouse. In order to be invited there, we actually need to complete a little side quest for Carl.
There's a journalist down at the inauguration. He's asking rather intrusive questions about who's staying up here, and that is a very dangerous problem for me. Now I want you to silence this little pain. You think you can do that?
It's what I do best.
So we need to kill this guy, Mr. Looked, then take a photo of him to prove to Carl that he's dead. To keep Silent Assassin, what we can do is just knock him out in order to fool Mr. Ingram. What's bad about this whole situation though is that the guy we need to knock out is in the area I dubbed No Man's Land. Basically, the whole area is covered in sun apart from the building's supports, but even then, the bits of shade they create aren't joined together. This is the route our guy takes. He stops by the bar, then walks all the way over to the guard, standing by the bathroom. The only thing I can think of is to lure the guy into the bathroom or bar, then go from there. The bar is on the other side of the map to where we are, and while I could get over there, I think it's best to stay on this side. So we're going to go with the other option. Getting to the bathroom is actually pretty easy, but we're going down knowing that we will have to use the vine again, unfortunately. Now we're here, we have to be very careful. The sun is in a position such that as soon as these doors open, the room will be covered in light. The only way to avoid it is to hide here, though we will need to move in order to speak with Mr. Looked, which means we will need the doors closed as soon as he gets in. Anyway, let's go. Our target is approaching to talk with the guard. What we're going to do is throw 1 coin in here, which the guard will investigate. We needed to throw it far enough to make sure that he doesn't stand in the doorway, but close enough so that the lady here wouldn't be the one investigating. As soon as he starts to pick it up, we throw another, which Mr. Looked should investigate. He walks in, we close the door. When he stops his picking up animation, he will immediately try to leave the room. And if you don't know, if an NPC is close enough to a door when they start their pathing, the door will just telepathically open, and in this case, we will perish. So we need to spam G so that when he tries to do this, we interrupt him so he can start following us, which we can do thanks to this side quest. By spamming G, we managed to do this before he opens the door, but we're not safe yet. This guard is about to walk out the room back to where he was, so before he opens the doors and to avoid the incoming UV onslaught, we're going to run into the wall.
I hear you're looking for information.
Oh, really?
After all that, we somehow convinced this guy to follow us into the back rooms. If I was Mr. Looked, I'd stay well away from the guy hiding behind the door and staring into walls, but I'm not complaining. We knock out Looked, take a picture, and we finally have our invite to the penthouse to meet with Carl Ingram in his office. All we need to do is go up to the reception desk a few floors up, and we meet back with Kelly, the hero of this run. We show her the picture, and we follow her up to the penthouse. Finally, we are invited in, and uh-oh. The sun makes a final stand to ruin this run. The route Kelly takes is through the penthouse courtyard, which is just a minefield of light. I don't think there's any route through here which protects us. I think it's impossible. And we need to be in proximity of Kelly for her to actually take us there. So, what do we do? Is this the end of the run? I mean, don't cheat by looking at how long's left of the video. I'm trying to have a moment here. All this work, avoiding the sun, assaulting those 13 people, was it all for naught? Well, maybe not. You may be thinking, well, do we need to talk to Kelly? Like, does she actually need to take us there? I mean, it's not like we don't know the way to the penthouse. We can just go there on our own, and there are routes which avoid the sun. You're absolutely right, there are other routes there, but there's an issue with that idea due to how this mission story works. Before speaking with Kelly in reception, Zaina's disguise is actually trespassing in the penthouse. If you go there without speaking to her, the mission story just doesn't work. So it turns out we do have to talk to Kelly and initiate the following part. So now what? Well, remember what we did with Stuyvesant? We had to follow him, but instead we ran away and we didn't immediately fail the mission story in doing so. It looks like we're gonna have to do the same thing, just on a larger scale. We talk to Kelly so our disguise won't trespass, then run off and make our own way to the penthouse, avoiding the sun. Simple enough, right? No! You may remember that we actually met back up with Stuyvesant in order to continue that mission story, but there's no way we can do that in this case, as Kelly will not move at all when we leave her proximity. She'll just be there, waiting. Poor Kelly, man, she's had to deal with a dickhead. She slipped over and knocked herself out, then immediately got back to work, and now has to deal with a British dickhead. Obviously we can't meet back with her because we'll be in the penthouse and she doesn't move. But there is one other thing we can do. If we make it to Ingram's office, which is where she was going to take us anyway, then the game thinks that Kelly took us there, and the mission story continues as if nothing out of the ordinary happened. So, we talk to Kelly, run off, then get to Ingram's office. Simple enough, right? No! There is actually a limit to Kelly's patience. When you leave the proximity of an NPC indicated by them saying a voice line like, where are you going? Or come back, dickhead, a timer starts. And if you aren't back with that NPC within that time, which is about 46 seconds, the NPC gives up and just goes back to whatever they were doing before. Okay, Dracula, what's the big deal? The big deal is that when this happens, our disguise will start trespassing again, much like how it did before we spoke to Kelly. Our disguise is only valid in the penthouse for as long as Kelly is standing and waiting. And again, we can't trespass in this challenge. As we discussed earlier, this mission story is a bit unique in that if we just get to the destination, the game doesn't really care if you didn't follow Kelly, and that applies to this time rule as well. I've done some tests, and the destination in this case appears to be anywhere on the second floor of the penthouse. The game just sort of catches up with itself, and our disguise will stay valid even when the time is up. All this to say, we need to speak to Kelly, make a run for it, and as soon as we do this, we have 46 seconds to make it all the way up to the second floor of the penthouse before Kelly loses her patience and causes us to start trespassing, making us fail the vampire challenge. It's not over. Let's discuss our route. That's where Kelly was going to take us. We're going to go the opposite way and run down this corridor to reach the door at the end. The fastest way to the door is by going through here, but there's actually these slivers of light blocking us. Even here, the sun still mocks us. So we'll have to go this way, which requires us to climb over this railing really, really slowly and jump down really slowly as well. Big time loss. We run down the corridor, through the door, using the keycard we picked up earlier in the security room, and up the stairs. Don't worry about these windows, the big yellow is on the other side of the map. We go past the windows, through the door, through the kitchen, up the stairs. Did I just say through the kitchen? I mean, I think that's garlic. That's definitely garlic, isn't it? Oh god. Okay, we can't go through the kitchen. This is a huge time loss, as instead of going up these stairs, we now have to go through the main room and up these stairs, which are further away from where we enter the penthouse. So I guess we'll just have to deal with it. We ignore the kitchen, run through the main room. Okay, the main room is being hit by sunlight. Oh, whatever, man. Luckily, we can avoid it. We just need to take the really long way around the edges of the room. Jesus Christ. Once we're through the main room, we just need to head up those stairs. We have our route. We know what needs to be done. This is it. Let's talk to Kelly.
Mr. Kazim, welcome back. So, you have the picture?
Yes.
Please follow me. He's waiting. If you just follow me, Mr. Kazim. Mr. Kazim.
We did it! We have been invited to Ingram's personal quarters, and we have made it to Ingram's personal quarters. If there was any doubt about us being invited in, he literally says,
Mr. Kasim, so good to see you.
all that's left is to take him out. We distract and KO this guard, then we do some strangling and totally definitely bite him. Once we're done, we just need to run out of the penthouse nice and quickly. Once through this door, we are free, and we escape down the nicely shaded elevator shaft. And that's it. We completed Dubai as a hemomancer.